going to show you how to loom knit an Easter bunny, or just a white bunny. He doesn't have to be for Easter. First of all, we're going to need a few different looms. I used a flower loom, and I have a video on how to use these for the making flowers, but I used the inside part to make smaller little like chair booty size sock hats, or whatever you want to call them. We're going to need that, and you're going to need the next to the smallest size that comes in your standard round set, the 7 to 7.5 inch round loom. So let's see. First of all, you're going to need fiber fill. You're going to need some kind of black yarn to use for eyes, or navy blue, something like that. Let me discuss what we did. I'm not going to actually loom knit the bunny for you. This is a project video, so I assume you already know how to loom knit. If you don't know how to loom knit, you can go check out I have a how to loom knit a hat, how to loom knit chair booties, and then there's actually an intro to loom knitting where I actually show the technique of loom knitting. But this video is assuming that you know how to loom knit, and this is a project video showing you how to construct this Easter bunny. To begin with, I knitted on the small, next to the smallest loom, a approximately 9-inch long tube with no cuff. I also loom knitted on the small flower loom 2 approximately 4.5-inch long tubes that we're going to use for ears. And then I just used 5 pegs on the inner loom, the same one that I did this, that we're going to sew as the inside, the pink part of the bunnies. And those measure about 1 1/4 inch wide by 4 inches long, and we'll be adjusting those when we get the ears constructed. And then I did a approximately 5-inch long tube out of pink that is going to be the bunny's little face, where we're going to sew the whiskers and the nose. You're going to need either pink or orange yarn to sew for the nose, or a piece of pink felt. You'll also need the yarns that you used to loom knit everything, and some black yarn to use as whiskers. So the first thing we want to do is remove our white tube from the loom. I used 4 strands of yarn because most of the yarns I had were finer, like baby, maybe 2 weight. And I also had a little bit of this pearlescent kind of yarn that I thought would be nice, and I just wanted to use it up, so I incorporated it inside in the construction. So let's get the tube off of our loom. Once it's off the loom, we're just going to draw it up just like you would in a hat. And you're going to make some stitches to secure it. Cinch up any hole you might have in the middle. Then we have, essentially, you have a hat with no cuff. Alright. We need the fiber fill, and we're going to stuff it. We want to try to be round, stuff it so it's sort of round. So you can work with it. Once you get in there, you sort of reach around in there and sort of mold it. It will start conforming. You just sort of have to use your hands to work with it there. Pretty round. Okay. Now, what we want to do, we're just going to sew the bottom closed. You want to kind of tuck it in, and this is also a way you can adjust the length if you made your tube too long, or you decided you don't want it as long as it was. I'm just going to turn that raw edge in so we don't have any raw edges. And since we can't tie a knot like regular sewing, I'm just going to loop it through and tie it. Okay, and I'm just going to go around in and out, just like you would gather. And if you don't know how to gather, if you check out, I believe it's my video on how to make a child's apron in the sewing category, I demonstrate how to gather. But essentially just going in and out. I keep poking myself with my super sharp needle. Hopefully I don't bleed all over the white rabbit. Be very Alice in Wonderland-esque. Yours will probably gather more. I don't know what's going on with my yarn. I'm afraid if I pull it any tighter it's going to break because I should have used a thicker yarn here. So I'm just going to sew it shut. Draw it up as much as you can. Okay. Sew shut. Alright, we want to make sure we get them nice and round. Just work with this underside there. Okay, for the ears, first of all I need to determine the length that I want. I think I'm going to leave them how I have them. So what I need to do with my pink part, you want to position your pink section on the ear. If I can bring that up a little bit more. So it looks like the pink part of the ear there. So you have the little bunny ears. Alright, I'm just going to use some regular thread. We're going to sew the pink part to the white ear. Alright, now we want to put our ears on our rabbit. So pick one ear. We don't need to put any stuffing in these or anything because they're pretty thick just because they're a tube situation. And then we've added the pink to it. So look at your rabbit. See which side you think makes a better presentation there. And remember, we can't tie a knot, so I'm just going to do like a loop around till it's secure there. Okay, and so here, I'm just going to sort of go around and pick up threads and sew a yarn, sew it around there. And I'm going to sort of work with the yarn there to. Okay, now, and the good thing about them being thick is you can sort of mold them. I mean, there's nothing in there, I'm just molding them there. All right, so we got that. Now we have the little pink tube that we made. I'm going to lightly stuff that. don't want it super puffy. And we're going to sort of do it peanut shaped, like a peanut. Pin that end. And again, because I don't want a bunch of bulk, I think I'm going to use regular thread to close this. I'm just going to stick my needle in through the inside and pull it out the middle here. And I'm going to wrap it around so I can divide it into, I want to try to get it into 2 equal parts here. There we go. Pull it tight, and I'm going to sew through the middle. I have like a double little, I don't know what even it looks like. So this is going to go right on his face. So I am going to just use the needle and thread I still have. I'm just going to sew it right onto his face. And then I'm going to, on the back, I want to sew it down to the I don't want it poking up, so I want to sew this down onto his face here. Alright, for the nose, I have these 2 little pink felt hearts, and I'm just going to use one for his nose. Thought that would be cute. You can cut something out of felt, or you can get a darker pink yarn and just sew like a dot if you wanted to. But I thought the heart would be a cute, just a cute little thing there. Now, if you're making this for a kid, you will want to make things more secure. Mine is for home decoration purposes, so obviously whenever you're doing things as a toy, you need to be worried about kids ripping things off and choking if they're smaller kids, or all of those kind of things. But this is, I'm making this purely for home decor, so. Alright. So a few stitches will secure the little nose. Next up, I'm going to do some black yarn. Alright, I'm going to pick where I think I want his eyes here. And this is one of those things that you can just have to sort of play around with and see what you think looks good, how, you know, the size of it and everything. We have that. Now I'm going to take this other heart and I'm going to stick it up in here underneath his little face, and I'm going to sew that in place for a mouth. And again, I'm just going to use the regular thread. Alright, so I have his little mouth sewn on underneath. It's like part under there. You can just use pink felt. You can use, you know, just again the same, like a dark pink yarn like you did the nose. Now we want to do whiskers. How I'm going to do whiskers is I'm going to sew Going to do 2 just like that. Just going to pull the needle through and tie it. Hook that down in there. And you don't want to do too many of them because that black yarn against the pink will look overpowering. For the bunny tail, just to get a little piece of fiber fill, and just sort of wad it into like a little ball. Clutch it at the back. And just sew it onto his behind. And we're all done. So that's our easy little rabbit. And I hope you had fun with this project. And thank you for joining us today at Canterbury Trails Farm. Bye!